Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast. This is episode number 467. My name's Adam Patterson. With me today we've got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Hello.
This week on the show, we'll be going over our top 10 movies of 2022, and as such, we're also joined once again by Ken Bakley. Hey, Ken.
Hello.
We almost didn't have a show this week because if you noticed, we were off a couple weeks there, and that's because I got COVID, and like 4 days later, Kevin got COVID. So that's why we've been away. And I was worried. I was worried that you weren't gonna rebound.
I thought
I was like, oh man, we're not gonna be able to do a year-end episode this year because I thought you were still sick.
I made it through.
Yeah, it sounded like you guys were in a pretty bad way for a while, but we're
we're
here now.
We're on the mend. So
I think a few days ago, you were telling me we probably weren't going to be able to record our year-end show this year, and then a few hours later, you told me looked like it was back on.
Yep. It'd be weird if we didn't do it, honestly. Like, we've been doing it for 10 years, so I think it'd be strange to skip a year.
It's such a staple.
Yeah.
It's an institution of Film Pulse.
I think but honestly, in 10 years, if the only thing that could stop us potentially would be COVID.
Yeah, I think so.
And it almost did, but we fucking prevailed.
Yeah. I mean, like, if anything, it kind of helped me watch a bunch of stuff that I needed to catch up on.
Gave you all the time you needed.
Yeah. But unfortunately, though, like, because I was just kind of laid up in bed and feeling lethargic, I only wanted to watch, like, brain dead, like, stuff that I didn't have to, like, activate any kind of brain cells for. So I got caught up, like, on all the Marvel movies and stuff. Anyway, before we get into our top 10, I was thinking that this would be a good time to, like, go over any movies that we missed, that we haven't been able to see yet, that we think could potentially be on our top 10s. I like to do this as sort of like a caveat before I give out my top 10, because, like, there's certain movies that I think may have been on it had I seen them. Do you guys have any titles off the top of your head that you can think of that you may have added had you been able to see it in time?
I'll just talk about it from the point of, like, a bunch of stuff that I had absolutely been meaning to see, but I just ran out of time. Like, over the last couple of days, I was able to get another 3 movies in to catch up on year-end stuff. And, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff I hadn't seen. I think, not that this is in any way exhaustive, or is like these were totally going to be,
Right. Yeah, of course.
Things that I thought of, but some of the stuff that I've just been thinking about that I haven't been able to see. The Banshees of Inisherin, I think that's how you say it. EO, and I still have not seen Triangle of Sadness.
I haven't seen The Whale. I wanted to catch that one. I haven't seen Tar. I was going to watch Black Panther before we recorded, but I picked something else instead. I'll just say it was The Menu, and that was unfortunate because that didn't end up on my top 10. And I didn't see After Sun yet. I want to see that too.
I've not seen After Sun either.
Those are like the ones that like just come top of mind for me. I don't know that those would be on my list, but those were just ones that I was thinking about. Kevin, were there any ones that, like, are sticking out in your head that you wanted to catch up with?
A couple of the ones that you said, like, definitely, like, After Sun.
Yeah,
I forgot about that one. Honestly, I feel like there's a ton. I can't name them, but I have a very strong feeling that I could watch another set of, like, there's another set of 10 movies out there from this year that could comprise my entire top 10 and knock everything off that I have now.
I feel that way this year too. This was a really pathetic year for me. I didn't see nearly as many films as I do other years. I don't know why that was. And also, this year was like a more of a kind of middle of the road year for me as far as like what I liked and what I was into. Like only three movies that I watched this year had above a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd.
Mhm.
And there were no movies that I saw this year that were 5 out of 5. Actually, I lied. There was one very late entry that was a 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
So
I got like 2 movies on my list that I'm pretty sure that they would stick. Everything else could move.
yeah, it's kind of crazy, and maybe we'll talk about some honorable mentions after we go through our main list. Just sorry, I just because I think that there were like a number of really solid titles, but nothing that was like mind blowing. So like, there's a lot of my stuff could shift around, basically.
I absolutely feel the same way. I was just going to express my complete agreement there. I was looking at my list that I keep through the year and moving things around on reflection, just trying to figure out, like, if I just had to choose 10 of these to showcase here, what would they be? And I could totally have had some different stuff here. I find that the big one for me is like what goes in at number 10.
Yeah, because that one is like truly interchangeable with like a lot of stuff. I mean, that's how it is for me. Like my number 10 has been swapped around multiple times. So yeah. Anyway, with that, I think we can just jump into the top 10. So Ken, we'll start it with you. What's your number 10 film of 2022?
My number 10 is Top Gun Maverick.
Ooh,
a lot of stuff could have gone there.
That's an interesting choice.
There's like a 5-way tie for 10. Now, I guess if I was not feeling 1,000,000% great about this, if I wanted to give myself an internal reason of why to swap it out, I could say, well, this is a movie that I saw, 2 days ago, and so maybe I'm still, and maybe there's a recency bias there, but it's Top Gun Maverick. I missed it in the theaters, which was an extraordinary mistake on my part.
That was going to be my question: is did you see it in the theater? Because I feel like that is one that benefits greatly from a theater experience.
I still really liked it at home, and if I saw it in the theater, it would probably be higher.
It was awesome in the theater, I will say. Like it was awesome. It was great.
But yeah, that's where I'm feeling right now. As we're recording, I had a bunch of stuff that I could have easily put in at number 10. But I went with Top Gun Maverick because I had a good time watching it.
Yeah, I had a blast with that one too. Kevin, what's your number 10?
This is what I like about our show, right? I like that we can go from Top Gun Maverick to my pick, which is One Man Dies a Million Times from Jessica Oreg.
That is what this show is about.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So this is a movie that like played festivals a couple years ago, or whatever, but it finally got released in theaters this year. It's got black and white cinematography from Sean Price Williams, which is great stuff, and it's a bizarre mix of, it's kind of like a futuristic dystopian sci-fi film, like low key, but it's based on the siege of Leningrad from World War II. So it's based on a true thing from the past. And it's just kind of melding the two together. And essentially what it comes down to is a seed library.
I remember you talking about this one on the show.
So it's definitely an interesting flick, and something that you don't necessarily see a lot of the time. Essentially, a sci-fi movie that's actually based on the past but set in the future.
Yeah, it's a cool concept. All right, my number 10 is Catch the Fair One from Joseph Wlodka. This is just a crime thriller about a boxer. She's a Native American boxer, and she is on the hunt for her younger sister who was seemingly abducted. So she enters the world of human trafficking. And this is a gritty, realistic, like just kind of one of these ultra realistic crime dramas, I would kind of compare it to something like a Jeremy Saulnier film. But you have Callie Reese in here as the lead, Kaylee, and she does such an incredible job in this that it ended up on my number 10. All right, Ken, what's your number 9?
My number 9, also from my year-end catch-up, so if I wanted to move around 9 and 10, I could say that, but, it's good. It's Tar. Tar is my number 9.
Yeah, this is on my list. I want to try to squeeze this in, or I wanted to, rather, but, I'm going to try to still catch up with it.
Yeah, it was part of my year-end catch-up. I was like, I want to get this in, as soon as I can. I probably, if I hadn't, I probably would have been fine or even better seeing it this week, because I think I realized that this week it goes from just being able to buy it on VOD to renting it, so I could have saved like $14. Ooh. Ooh. I was like, I don't know how long this is going to be to buy. I guess I'll have to see it now until you pay the buy price. And it's like, Tar is not the kind of movie where I'm immediately thinking, I want to watch Tar again. So now it's just sitting there.
It's going to be an annual rewatch for you, Tar.
Yeah. Just because I got to watch 158 minutes of Tar. Yeah, Cate Blanchett's great in this. Also, it's fascinating about the way that it fills those 158 minutes. A weirdly enriching experience after watching Tar was to look up, because at the end of the year, during award season, they put PDFs of a lot of the screenplays online. I believe the shooting script for Tar is 92 pages.
Interesting.
And it's 157 minutes long.
Cool. Kevin, what's your number 9?
I went with the... This was a catch-up as well. I didn't even know this came out this year, actually. And one of those, much like your 10, very realistic crime drama. This is The Stranger. You can watch this on Netflix from Thomas M. Wright. I was quite surprised by this. I didn't know anything about this movie. It was on my wife's watch list. I saw that it was 2022. I said, all right, I haven't seen Joel Edgerton in something, seems like for ages. Remember when Joel Edgerton was in everything?
Yeah, it was interesting. I watched this too on your recommendation, and when that blue tongue logo came up, I was like, oh yeah, I guess they're still around.
Yeah, Blue Tongue, I can't pinpoint the actual year, but there was a year or two where Blue Tongue was every fucking movie, and Joel Edgerton was in every fucking movie. So it's kind of nostalgic in a way. It's kind of, went back to
almost
that time.
Throwback.
It's the throwback now, because it really felt like a Blue Tongue movie. And it's just, this is such a dark and solemn film. And just the way that, the pacing of it, the way that it's shot, just the way that they went about it, it just really struck me as, in terms of a police procedural, done in this way, very, very deliberate. I feel like I haven't seen one this good in a long time.
Yeah, it is quite good. And it, like you said, it's on Netflix, so you can check that out.
Yeah.
Again, that's The Stranger. My number 9 is The Banshees of Inisherin. This was a catch-up for me. Martin McDonagh. I loved Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson in this. It's a hilarious premise. I just liked the premise, where it was just about a guy who doesn't want to be friends with another guy anymore. And they live on a small island, and the other guy just can't get over why this guy doesn't want to be friends with him. And it's such a simple premise, but it lends itself to some really kind of heart-wrenching moments. The final act of this movie is just so brutal. And it's kind of weird because everything preceding it is pretty light and very funny, but it just gets so somber at the end. And I was really kind of taken aback by it. So yeah, definitely recommend this. It's on HBO Max, so you can check it out on there.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but that sounds like a very Martin McDonagh kind of
big time
way to do that.
Yeah, big time. Ken, what's your number 8?
My number 8 is We're All Going to the World's Fair.
Oh, that's an interesting pick too. Huh.
It's lingered with me for
Well, it's definitely one that you won't forget anytime soon. That's
yeah,
for sure.
for the last 8 or so months since I've seen it. I think among so many other things that it addresses, if I had to choose one thing to maybe explain why it stuck out to me, and without giving too much away, it's a movie that in harrowing detail understands what it's like to interact on the internet.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. 100% yes.
And I do want to point out, I do want to emphasize, it does so in harrowing detail.
It's unnerving. It's a movie
It
that
truly
like
is.
really gets under your skin. And
Mhm.
I loved the aesthetic of it, the kind of almost analog horror aesthetic.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, Kevin, number 8.
Number 8 is The Banshees of Inisherin for me as well.
Nice.
So I got that one at number 8. I love the premise, which is the funny thing going into this movie. I never looked up what it was about.
Oh,
I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna watch this.
I-
And then as soon as it was introduced as like the setup and the premise, I was just like, yeah, yeah, okay. I like this. This is gonna be good.
I knew what it was, or at least I thought I knew what it was going into it, but I wasn't sure if there was like more to it than that. But and I guess there sort of is, but the baseline
It
is that.
Yeah, which I think is the really interesting aspect of this movie is it's a super simple setup and premise, right? And surface level, that's what it is. Like you can just watch it for that, but it also does delve into a lot more things. You know, it gets far more emotional than I thought it was going to get. It gets a lot more darker and bleaker than I thought it was going to get. You know, it was a lot more heart wrenching than I thought it was going to get, giving the initial setup and premise where you're just like, oh, this guy doesn't want to be buds anymore.
Also, it's just
It's not
it's a gorgeously shot film. Like the island where it takes place, the cinematography. I mean, it's incredible looking.
Yeah, and there's a part of me because at first I was like, oh man, this is kind of shitty. Could you being on that island back in the olden days like that, and your one buddy doesn't want to be your buddy anymore?
Yeah.
That's like fucking devastating.
Yeah.
That would just ruin everything. But there was a part of me that was like, man, it would be kind of cool to be like the main thing that you do is tend to the animals and then hit up the pub for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Your day's like 2 different things, and that's it. That sounds kind of
A
nice.
simple life.
Yeah.
And their lives seemed simple and relaxing too. Like everything about this movie feels cozy to me.
Yes.
Anyway, my number 8 is Saloom. We reviewed this on the show a while back. It's a sort of an African Western. And
Sounds about right.
yeah, and it's awesome. I didn't know what to expect going into this one. I love the style. I love the aesthetic. The main characters, the gang, are awesome. It has this kind of almost like a crime thriller vibe at the beginning, but then it kind of morphs into a light horror movie because there's like a supernatural element to it. And yeah, it's cool as shit. So definitely recommend Saloom. That's on Shudder, I think. All right, number 7. Ken, what do you got?
My number 7. Now, I admit that I'm not I'm not fully up to date on all episodes of the Film Pulse Weekly podcast, but when I did see this next movie, I did think I saw both of your scores on Letterboxd and saw they were not that high. So I have not listened to the episode where you've discussed this, but so I'm going to just say now and provide a brief explanation of my next best movie of the year, which is Steven Spielberg's The Fabelmans.
Oh, well, we didn't have anything against it. So
I kind of did.
I didn't have anything against
It
it.
was all right.
Okay. I didn't think you did, but I just thought it was interesting. just a bit of a. I went into this podcast knowing that I'm going to be the only one here who has the Fablemans on his top 10 list.
I mean, I imagine that there's going to be plenty of other top 10 lists that have
Yeah,
the
no,
Fablemans
it's not
on
like
it.
I have to. It's not like I feel like I'm the one person that has to
You have to defend the
sing
Spielberg
the praises of
film.
Steven Spielberg, but
Now, if it was like Warhorse or something, we might have to have a deeper discussion. But
yeah. Well, my takeaway from it, my defense is a just bizarre word, but my takeaway from it was that I think it's best when it's not about or explicitly about making movies or about becoming a filmmaker. I think it's a really good movie about one of the things that I think film is uniquely well suited to examining, which is the process of memory, the process of remembering, the active journey of looking at your memories and kind of realizing over time the impact of individual moments and how your understanding of them has changed over time. And I think Spielberg is in excellent conversation with not only the audience but himself in making this generally autobiographical story. And I was really I really responded to it. So yeah, that's the Fablemans.
all right, Kevin, what's your number 7?
My number 7 is Decision to Leave. Park Chan-wook.
This, I will say, this did not make it on my list, but it was like really close. It was really
I am
close.
surprised.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a great movie, but I don't know, man. Like,
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I am shocked.
Kevin is shook.
I don't even know.
Park Chan-wook's not on my list. You kidding me?
How do you not have Park Chan? Do I even know you anymore?
I'll tell you, the problem was the lasting power of the movie. Like, it just didn't. It really just didn't stick with me as much as I initially thought it would.
Gotcha.
It's kind of it's like fading from my memory already.
Gotcha. Well, it stuck with me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was kind of surprised because Park Chan-wook has not really been on my list of directors that I'm really seeking out anymore. He kind of dropped off there for a little bit. And Decision to Leave was one of those instances where it's like, yeah, I guess I'll give this guy a shot. I'm glad I did because it felt like he really came back.
Mm-hmm.
Just chock full of style. This one.
Yeah, it's a great movie. My number 7 is Prey. This was kind of a controversial one for me to add. I normally don't add like the big kind of action blockbuster type movies on my list. But this one I thought was worthy because I'm a huge fan of the Predator franchise, and I have been kind of yearning for a really solid Predator movie for a long time, and I feel like Dan Trachtenberg kind of knocked it out of the park with this one, and it's definitely one that I've been eager to rewatch. I haven't rewatched it yet, but I'm really excited to rewatch it. And there's not too many movies that I see in a given year where, like, after I watch it, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I want to rewatch that right now. And Prey is definitely that. All right, number 6, Ken, what do you got?
At my number 6, I have Ricky DeAmbrose's new film, The Cathedral.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hey, Rick DeAmbrose making a list that's not on mine. Incredible.
I was gonna say, whoa.
Incredible.
This is like the Park Chan-wook situation, isn't it?
It kind of is, honestly. That if you could find, yeah, that is analogous, I guess.
Yeah. It's I suppose you could think of this paired with The Fablemans together on my list as two very different examinations of family from an autobiographical standpoint and through a way that seems like a director in active conversation with himself in ways that make it feel like something more than just someone telling stories about their lives, and in a way that makes it seem much richer and much more involving and immediate. So I believe it's on Mubi, The Cathedral.
Cool. Yeah, check it out on Mubi.
Yeah.
Kevin, what's your number 6?
First off, I just want to say that when Ken
Mhm.
stated the cathedral, and immediately the thought went off in my head is, oh yeah, I forgot to finish that.
Yeah.
Because I did watch like 40 minutes of it,
Well,
and I forgot to go back to it. I don't think it would have made it on my list because, as you can tell, I forgot to finish it, so I wasn't that enthralled with it.
well, if you did like it, you could have, carved out a number 11 spot for the first 40 minutes of the cathedral.
That would have been so funny if he did that.
So, with that being said, like, okay, there. I'm glad Ricky D'Ambrose made it. It wasn't on my list, which is kind of surprising. But if Ricky D'Ambrose doesn't make it on my list, you can pretty much lock it in that if Albert Burney made a movie, it's going to make it on my list. And Strawberry Mansion, which is also a movie, is my pick here with co-directed with Kentucky Audley. You know, just these are so up my alley in terms of
Just the level-
creativity wise.
Yeah, I was
just,
gonna say.
just film. The filmmaking. This is the type of filmmaking that I love, where it is so DIY and just the small budget and what you're able to turn that into. I have so much fun watching these types of things.
Yeah, this Strawberry Mansion is great. Honestly, I kind of forgot that it came out this year. I thought that was last year, but
It might have been. I don't know.
no, I think it
It's
was
been a year.
I think it was this.
It's been quite a year.
Yeah, I think it was technically 2022, but I think that we saw it before that. But
Yeah.
At any
saw it
rate-
way before.
yeah, it's great. It's definitely worth checking out. My number 6 is Athena. This is directed by Romain Gavras.
That's right.
Yeah, this is one that kind of eluded me for a little while, and then I didn't even realize it was on Netflix until like a couple weeks ago. And when I saw that it was on Netflix, I gave it a look, and I mean, it's almost worth. It almost made it to my list just for the opening sequence. There's this really incredible opening sequence that's just it's like a single take. It's like 10 or 15 minutes. There's a couple hidden cuts in there, but it doesn't matter. And it's incredible. If you're not familiar with this, it is about a sort of like an uprising of people in this like small like city area where basically police have allegedly killed this young man, and the people are kind of rising up and just taking over. And so the whole movie is essentially a battle between the youth and these police, and it is just it's nonstop. I mean, the whole movie is just nothing but like craziness and energy, and I love really complex movies like this that are like, as far as like the shots go, and it's a decent story as well. So Athena, check it out on Netflix. All right, we're at number 5. Ken, what do you got?
My number 5 is, in fact, Strawberry Mansion.
Ah,
What?
Yeah.
D'Ambrose, Birdie, Audley, back to back.
oh my
Watch
god!
out. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
I mean, I don't have much else to add. It's a really great movie. I do want to add, on a side note, taking a quick look at the podcast feed, I was concerned that perhaps I had fallen behind by a lot on this fine program on which I'm currently appearing, because I had not listened to the Fablemans episode, but the Fablemans episode was the most recent one. So.
Yeah, that was we were off the last 2 weeks, I think.
Yes, but yeah.
Yep. All right, Kevin, what's your number 5?
My number 5 has already been mentioned, and that's We're All Going to the World's Fair.
There it is again.
Nice.
Yep.
Very nice.
See, this is I agree with what Ken said, and I also agreed that it's done the same thing where maybe when I initially watched it, yes, it struck me and kind of, stuck with me a little bit, but I didn't realize, or I didn't foresee the lasting power that this movie would have, where it just kept like kind of lingering and coming into my mind like, you know, just various days throughout the year, I would just think of this movie. And it was like, even when I thought about it, it was still unnerving. In the way that it was able to maintain that almost the entirety of the year from when I saw it to even now. I'm looking at the poster now and I don't like it. I have to close this tab. Like it's unnerving to me. It really creeps me out.
Yeah.
It's, like there have been movies that have attempted to adapt the whole like creepypasta thing. And I don't think any of them were like particularly successful. I feel like that there were certain fundamental things that make creepypasta popular, or work that they never really were able to capture. But I think that with We're All Going to the World's Fair, they were able to adapt that style, that medium into a film.
And the thing that gets me, and this is my experience with it, I don't know about the two of you, but it almost acts or works or excels like as an after image. Like for me, like in the moment of watching it, I didn't find it that creepy. It was slightly unnerving, that kind of thing. I didn't really think of it as like a true horror movie or anything like that. I found it to be far more sad than anything. But the more that I'm removed from it, it creeps me out more and more, which is bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's sort of grown on me that way, but in the same way, I kind of had more of the thing where it made an immediate impact on me, but it just kept lingering. Like I kind of got that, but only in the sense that it started, like the beginning of it, like the things I'd already seen started cascading on me more while I was watching it through to the end. I had a similar experience, maybe a different one, but I think maybe that also speaks to just the way the movie's able to communicate that it can manifest itself in different ways.
I'm wondering if that movie that's coming out, Skinamarink, if that one's going to be like 2023's We're All Going to the World's Fair. I don't know if you guys saw anything about that one, but it looks like it's going to be... I don't
think I know much about that.
It's going to be like
It'll be interesting to see.
It's going to be like a similar thing. All right, let's see. We're at number 5. My number 5 is Triangle of Sadness. This is the Ruben Östlund one. I did not see The Square. I've been meaning to try to catch up with that one, but I did see Force Majeure, and I liked that a lot. And so I would say if you're familiar with those movies, I'm not sure about his filmography before those two, but I think you probably know what you're going to be getting into if you are familiar with those two. Triangle of Sadness is basically like a bunch of rich people on a super yacht and everything goes wrong. And it's hilarious and also bizarre and kind of depressing and kind of gross. And I really dug it. I didn't expect where it went. Just a good time with this one. Just thinking about it makes me laugh.
I have not seen Triangle of Sadness, but I did see The Menu the other day.
I'm fresh. I'm fresh off The Menu, which both movies are have kind of a similar.
Vibe. That was what I guessed, but
I liked The Menu too. Like I found The Menu to be very entertaining, but Triangle of Sadness was just a step above that for me.
Yeah. The Menu was never going to come anywhere near my top 10 list. Yeah. It's serviceable. It's got fun moments, but yeah, I do want to see.
It was very engaging, I will say. The Menu.
Yeah. Well, we don't need to talk about a movie that's not on the list.
Fuck The Menu. All right, Ken? What's your number 4?
I'm going to keep some of this list synergy and recurring discussion going by saying that my number 4 is Decision to Leave.
Oh, here we go.
Nice. Making me regret not putting it on my. You have no idea how many times that movie was on this list and then made its way off. Like I was waffling over it, and I ended up putting Catch the Fair one on. No, I'm happy. I'm happy with my decision. Kevin, what's your number?
Terrific score.
Kevin, what's your number 4?
Something that's also been discussed already, and that's Saloon, the African Western. This is like genre film wise, this was pretty damn fun for me. I just thought it was cool as hell.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. My number 4 is Nope. It's the new Jordan Peele. I had a great time with it. Can't wait to watch it again. It was funny. Nice moments of horror in there. I'd say a bigger spectacle than his other movies, and I kind of liked that. I liked the kind of summer blockbuster aspect of it. And yeah, it was great. If you haven't seen Nope yet, not much more to say. Ken, number 3. Here we go. Top 3.
My number 3 is Max Walker Silverman's A Love Song.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just a terrific, moving, confident movie that does not need a lot of time or does not perfectly resist the urge to fill in details that do not need to be directly filled in. It's about connections and people, and it's wonderfully performed in the lead roles by Dale Dickey and Wes Studi.
Cool. Kevin, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Superior from Erin Vasilopoulos. This is her feature debut, essentially expounding on her short film Superior from like 2015. I might be wrong on that date, but this is one that just the entire vibe of this movie was just, it linked up perfectly with the mood that I was in when I watched it. And it was essentially just everything that I wanted from, if a director was going to flesh out one of their short films from years ago that I enjoyed, the way that it was done here, I couldn't ask for anything else.
Yeah, it
So
doesn't. It doesn't
recommend it.
It doesn't feel like it's, sometimes when you adapt a short film into a feature, it feels forced. It feels like, I probably would have been better off as a short. Now, I haven't seen the short, but like this feels like a fully fleshed out like feature film. It doesn't feel bloated or anything like that.
And it's interesting because the way that it was set up, the old short film is about 2 twins, and she's utilizing the same 2 twins, but of course they're older now, so you can't just rehash the original film. So it's actually kind of a continuation of the earlier short film, but not 100% really. It's just a really interesting, the way that it came out.
Cool. My number 3 is RRR. And this was a very late watch for me. I knew that I was going to love this one, like from the moment that I found out about it. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, I kept putting it off. And finally, this weekend, I gave it a look, and I was completely glued to my TV the entire time. I loved every moment of this movie. This is a movie where if you're looking for something that's like over the top, like if you're like, man, I just really want to see some crazy over the top action, like this is the one. This is what you need to see, because it honestly puts all like American blockbusters to shame. Like this movie is a movie. This is a movie.
3 hours of it.
It's just
does not let up.
It's just so incredible. The dance battle, the scene with the animals where they basically use a whole jungle, a whole zoo as a weapon. It's so awesome. And there were a lot of elements of this that I genuinely thought were fantastic too. Like all the music was so good. Mm-hmm. The aside from the effects work, which by the way, the effects work is quite good in this. There's a lot of CG at use, but it's done quite well. Just the production design, the sets in this, like some of the set pieces in this are so huge that it just looks like it was such a giant undertaking to produce this movie. I mean, this is an epic movie. So yeah, I loved it. I thought it was easily one of the best experiences I've had with movies this year. All right, Ken, what's your number 2?
It's exactly the same. It's RRR.
There we go.
We're finding some interesting patterns in our list.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else can I say? It's immaculate.
Yeah,
it's immense.
It's so good. Kevin, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Nope.
All right. Nice.
Yeah, which I 100% agree with you is the summer blockbuster feel of this movie. It's just something that I haven't experienced in quite some time. It felt like a, such a summer event of going to the movie theater and seeing this goddamn movie and just walking out buzzing is great.
But it's also like, it's not like a modern blockbuster either. Like it doesn't have the same feel as like a Marvel movie where it feels like this cookie cutter thing. It feels like a classic blockbuster.
Yeah. Oh, this is, and I think I said it on the show, is this feels like Jordan Peele's Jaws. Like it even kind of follows some of the beats that Jaws follows, and it's that classic, like, well-made film where there's technical prowess on display, there's wonderful pacing, but at the same time, on surface level, it is hugely entertaining.
Yeah, definitely. All right, my number 2 is Broker. This is the new one from Corey Ida. There's something about his movies that just always tug at the right emotional chords with me. I felt the same way about Shoplifters. I think Shoplifters is like my number 1 movie the year that came out, like in 2018 or 16 or whenever that came out. And this one is very much the same. It is it's tender, it's tragic in a lot of ways. It's incredibly sad, but like kind of joyous at the same time. I think that he does such a good job of like presenting complex characters and then making them extremely relatable. And I always feel like I always love like the look of his movies. He always has this kind of like dreary, somber, yet altogether beautiful, like cityscapes and stuff. And I just feel like this was more of that. So yeah, I love Broker. And by the way, I mean, if you're not familiar, it's about human traffickers. So it says something when you can make a movie where the leads are human traffickers and yet they're really sympathetic, likable characters. So yeah, that's Broker. Check that out.
I'm learning so much about this movie the last 2 days.
Yeah,
I still haven't seen it.
I had no idea it even existed until yesterday.
I knew of it, and it's just like we said at the beginning, like we can't really have this, go through these lists without talking about all the things that we haven't seen.
Yeah,
they're always snapshots. That's the thing. I hope is always taken away. This. Always snapshots.
All right, here we go. This is it. Number 1. Ken, what's your number 1 film of 2022?
My number 1 movie of the year is Celine Sciamma's Petite Maman.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
now,
right.
I'm looking at my list right now and thinking that it's actually kind of funny. I think I've done this before, just a weird contrast to number 1. I've got the 3-hour maximalist action movie RRR sandwiched between 2 sub 90-minute quiet character dramas. But here's the thing about Petite Maman. It is brilliant, quietly haunting. It's again, I guess I'm gonna make this the theme. Well, I was gonna say that I guess the theme of movies I like this year were about interrogating one's own memories, investigating them, kind of how the past and the present coexist in our minds. But that honestly is the theme of every movie I like every year, basically. So, and if it's not a theme, I try to make it about that, I guess, because it feels like I bring that up every year. So, yeah, it's just a fascinating bit of character work, fantastical in fascinating ways that makes more sense after you've seen it.
All right, Kevin, what's your number one movie of the year?
My number one is that Triple R movie
Ooh.
that you guys talked about already. So this came in at number one. I think I win because I have it the highest. I think that's how this works.
It was 1, 2, and 3, right?
For.
Yeah.
Yep. So Triple R sweeping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just, to add to everything that you guys said, to me, kind of in the way that Nope was this like big summer event for myself, which was like one of 3 times I think I went to the movie theaters this year. Triple R is for me like perhaps some of the most fun I've had with a movie in quite some time. Like I was just, it seemed like every other minute I was just like, wow, okay. Dude,
Yeah.
this movie's just going to do whatever it wants. This is incredible. I love this. And when you talked about the zoo, when they pull up the truck, they have such a big build up to this truck. It's this huge set piece, it's state grounds, and the back comes flying open and you have a whole menagerie popping out, getting ready to fight. And you're just like, oh my God,
And
I love you so much. Like, I can't believe that you gave.
Sorry, I was just going to say, that's only halfway into the movie, too.
Yeah.
Like that scene, which feels like it's like a culminating showdown.
Yeah.
It's only halfway. It's only at the like hour and a half mark.
Yeah. In an American film, it would have been 2.5 hours of build up to that final sequence. In Triple R, it's just like, this will be another action scene that we'll do. This will be a menagerie, and
they would have friggin' split this into 3 movies if it was in the U.S.
And they would somehow all be 3 hours long.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Definitely. They would have. They would have added all kinds of extra bullshit on top of it that nobody wants or needs.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that just happens, and then it's like, you want another 90 minutes of this, and obviously, if you're watching it, you're going to say nothing except absolutely.
Yes, please. It truly felt like a gift. Like it was like, I can't believe you did this for me. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So RRR definitely. That's probably the highest.
That's kind of our consensus pick for
movie
of the year, I guess.
I think so.
My number one is Everything Everywhere All at Once. This was one that just... I saw this in the theater. I haven't been to the theater very much this year either, or in 2022 either. But this was one that I saw, and I absolutely loved every second of it. It's endlessly exciting. I love Michelle Yeoh's character in this, and it's just goofy, and it just brings a smile to your face when you see this movie. It's just bonkers in all the right ways. And again, this is one that I am excited to rewatch, and I highly recommend it.
I did not like that movie as much as you did, but even though I maybe didn't connect to it as much as you or, so many other people have really embraced it. I just, the whole time I was watching, I was like, this might not be for me, however we define that, but I'm just so happy that it's here.
There's a universe where people have hot dog hands, okay?
That is a good fact. I can't argue with that.
Yeah. I'm just looking now at the ratings on Letterboxd for this are insane. Like 51% gave it a 5 out of 5.
Wow.
Is that a record? Is that the
that's
number one
gotta
movie on
be.
Letterboxd?
It's gotta be up there, man. That's crazy. I didn't give it a 5 out of 5 for the record. I did give RRR a 5 out of 5,
and yet RRR was not number one. Bullshit.
It always ends up that way for me, where my ratings on Letterboxd do not correspond with my top 10 ever.
Mm, mm,
Looks like it's
mm.
number 13 on the Letterboxd all-time list, which
Wow.
Wow.
yeah,
And-
like yeah, I'm not gonna like yeah,
And
I'm happy I am so
Ken
happy
hated
that
it.
it got me.
I can't, and then to not have the Chan-wook on there.
Look,
There's something about your list. There's something about your list. I think we're gonna have to look into it.
it's a goofy list this year. I admit that, but and
I think you're still suffering from COVID. Still
I
having issues.
I
here.
did have originally I had Decision to Leave in the number 9 spot instead of Banshees, and I ended up like swapping it out. And
But
so
did you keep number 10?
number 10, that was all over the place. Number 10, I had like I don't know, 4 different ones at number 10 at one point. Like Glass Onion was on there for a second, and then that popped off, and there were a couple other ones. The Stranger at one point made an appearance.
That was on
Now,
there. Yeah,
I was wondering if you had switched out number 9 for a different movie that wasn't on the list, but you had kept 10 the same while you were doing that.
Well, also I had
did that.
Yeah, I know. I understand.
I also had Shin Ultraman on my list at one point until I realized that actually didn't come out in the U.S.
I was about to say, I was like, wait a
2022.
second, that came out because that would have been much higher.
Yeah, that it didn't come out, so that kind of messed up my whole thing. I thought it came out for some reason, but I guess that's some foreshadowing for 2023. That movie's going to be up there for me. Any other like honorable mentions or any other movies that you wanted to highlight from this year? Any big releases or anything that just didn't quite make it to your lists?
I won't go too much into them, but I'll just rattle off a few that could have been credible, showing up somewhere on the list that I just have written down here. I also have to go with Glass Onion, the documentary All the Beauty and the Bloodshed about Nan Golden, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, After Yang.
Wait, did you see Matilda?
I have not seen Matilda.
Oh man, I really wanted to get your take on Matilda. I figured you'd be into that one.
I have not yet seen Matilda. I will probably see it soon, but
I didn't like it, but
I'm not surprised that you didn't like it. I'm not surprised that you didn't like the movie Matilda.
I think the more surprising thing is that I actually sat down and watched the whole thing.
I am actually surprised that you decided to watch the music.
I think it's mostly because I saw a lot of like remixes and memes of that big final song that's in the movie.
Revolting Children.
Yeah, Revolting Children, and it made me want to just watch the movie and see what it was like. It's not a bad movie, but it's just I thought that all the other songs pretty much sucked except for the Revolting Children song. Anyway, Kevin, were there any honorable mentions, any other ones that you wanted to talk about that weren't on your list?
Yeah, I think I have like a little bit of a theme here, which is I thought was kind of interesting in that my 11 through 15. See if you can notice a theme here. So 11 would have been Master, 12 would have been Hellbender, 13 would have been Mona Lisa and the Blood Moon, 14 would have been Barbarian, and then 15 was Nanny.
Interesting. Okay.
So you have 5. It seemed like it was a really solid year for me in terms of horror movies. Like there wasn't. It's not like there was horror movies out there that like really blew my mind, but to me there was just a lot of solid horror movies.
Yeah, my next 10, my 10 through 20 are like almost entirely horror movies. Like I had Barbarian, Mona Lisa and the Blood Moon. I think Shudder had a pretty good year this year. They had a lot of ones. Oh, X.
Definitely.
X is on there. So, yeah, good, pretty decent year for horror, I would say. Hopefully 2023 will keep up with that.
Hopefully.
All right. Anything else to close out the year?
I'm just happy that we were able to meet and discuss our lists. I always enjoy it.
Cool. All right. I think it's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter at FilmPulseNet, at FilmPulseKevin, and at KBake_99. And if you have a minute, consider reviewing us on iTunes. That'd be great. For Kevin Rakestraw and Ken Bakley, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.